Hello and welcome to today's webinar presented by Fregasso Financial Advisors, where our topic is pursuing growth amidst the challenges faced by today's financial advisors. I'm Greg Pond, Manager of Human Resources and Recruiting for Fregasso, and I'll be serving as the moderator for today's webinar. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. We'll get started with a brief agenda, and then I'll introduce our panelists. So during the live webinar presentation, all attendees are muted and you're not on camera. Your attendance is also confidential. We will have a live Q&A session at the conclusion of today's webinar. If you're joining us for the live event, feel free to type a question in the Q&A function in your Zoom control panel at any time during the presentation. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible, but we will also follow up individually with those that we don't have time for today. And if you're watching a replay of this webinar, feel free to email myself or our presenters directly. Our contact information will be given at the end of today's program. Now let's move on to the panelist introductions. First up is Bob Fregasso, who is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Fregasso Financial Advisors. With nearly 5 decades of experience in the investment and financial planning fields, Bob has combined his industry knowledge and his entrepreneurial spirit, carefully constructing a vision that's positioned the firm for growth and longevity. Bob's been honored by many national and local organizations, including Barron's Magazine. He was named to the most admired CEOs and top executives list by the Pittsburgh Business Times, and he received the Veteran of the Year award by the Veterans Leadership Program of Western PA. He shared his wisdom in his book, Starting Your Own Practice, The Independent's Guide for Professional Service Providers, and is frequently asked for his investment insights by local and national media. Also with us today is Dan Dingus. Dan is the President and Executive Director of Portfolio Management at Fregasso Financial Advisors. In his role, Dan oversees the development and implementation of the firm's strategic direction across each department. He has executive oversight of the portfolio management department and is involved in various aspects of the decision-making and strategic perspectives related to investment portfolios. Having spent several years in portfolio management, Dan was instrumental in creating and refining Fregasso's investment discipline. So before we get started, we found that it's important that attendees consider their goals prior to presentations. So we're going to start with a couple poll questions so that you can frame the materials we share in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. So we're going to start with the poll. Okay, so really we want to understand what you want to accomplish and what's holding you back. So the first question is, what are you trying to accomplish in your practice? Are you looking for growth, revise your business model, or potentially succession planning? And then the second question is, as an advisor, what do you feel is holding you back the most from achieving your goals? So as you can see, there's multiple answers here. I'll go through them, and you can select as many as you feel apply to you personally. So maybe it's insufficient time, too many demands, maybe it's technology, a lack of processes, lack of support, maybe the compliance oversight, the broker-dealer or custodian relationship that might be impacting your revenues, potentially product quotas, proprietary products, and limited investment options, as well as arbitrary rules. So we'll give you a minute to select those 2 questions. So definitely give it some time to think about that. We want to make sure that we're covering everything that you need. All right, so we have the results. So as far as the first question, what are you trying to accomplish in your practice? Wow, almost 80% said growth. That's fantastic. We're going to talk about that today, but we'll also talk about the business model and succession planning. So looking at question 2, as an advisor, what do you feel is holding you back the most from achieving your goals? 68% of you said insufficient time and too many demands. The second one, I believe, is lack of support, but also looking inadequate technology, lack of processes, compliance oversight, the arbitrary rules. All of these things certainly make a lot of sense. And the great thing is, I believe we're going to discuss all of these today. So, Bob, I'll turn it over to you to begin the presentation. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all for participating and registering and viewing, and even those of you who will view it later on replay. A special thanks to, I noticed in the registration that many of my friends and our friends from around the country have tuned in. So a special thanks to you who have tuned in to hear this. The two questions that you just answered came out with interesting first place answers. And I'm going to suggest to you that your desire for growth and your feeling of inadequate time and too many demands are connected, and they're working against each other. You're doing potentially too many things that are getting in the way of your growth. There are tremendous opportunities in our industry right now. We are riding a wave, and I've seen a couple of this magnitude in the 49 years that I've been doing this, going back to the early 70s. This is a major wave, wonderful opportunities. We can create productive time, referencing your answers, to become a survivor. Those who seize those opportunities will be more than a survivor, they'll be the winners. They'll be the ones who have ridden the wave and carried themselves as a result out into the clear blue waters beyond. The alternative is to be left in the eddy behind the wave and not being able to go anywhere. So let's resolve to get over the things that are holding us back, to seize the opportunity, and to become the winners who will have everything that they deserve to have because of their efforts. The overall industry presents opportunities and obstacles. For financial advisors who are approaching retirement, they need placement for their valued clients as you work these last few years or maybe even few months toward retirement. You should derive proper value for those clients in the transfer. And if you're selling to a junior partner, that especially needs attention so that it is done correctly. You will seize the opportunity if you're paying attention to the right method or methods for transferring your clients to their next advisor or advisory group. We have to question, how has COVID changed the industry? Well, certainly the manner in which we communicate, clients, coworkers, prospects. We need efficient and productive technology platforms. Duh, I mean, you knew that. You didn't need to tune in to hear me tell you that. But yet at the same time, I'm going to ask each of you to look inward and say, are your tech platforms as efficient and as productive as they must be for you to claim your winnings in this industry? The demand for virtual meetings by clients will continue. We completed a survey of our clients just this past week. The results came in, and these are our most valuable clients, the upper tier levels. 40% of them said they are very content to continue virtual meetings ongoing, even as we completely come out of the quarantine. We have to recognize that. That's time efficiency for them. That's time efficiency for you. But antiquated systems won't allow that to happen. Things that are clunky. Now, having said that, I hope we don't have a technical glitch, right, Marcia? So that it makes us look as though we're clunky. But we believe that, in fact, by just good advanced foresight, we spent the year of 2019 strengthening all of our platforms. We weren't clairvoyant. We didn't know COVID-19 was coming, but it carried us through 2020. So we have stood that test. And I would challenge you to put yourselves to that test. We can help with that. Keeping up with client communications in all channels, maintaining and developing a referral network, through technology and in-person events. And then most importantly, it's in the news right now, guarding against cybersecurity threats. We had a situation a couple of years ago, and it's become more intense in the marketplace now, where one of the local municipal legal agencies in our municipality was held for ransom. At the same time, it was an attempt to hold us for ransom, and it failed. So preparedness is the watchword here. Part of this wave, and this has come in cycles. Way back when I started, the industry was very diverse, a high incidence of individual ownership of investment advisory practices and firms. And then it moved for a number of sociological and industry reasons that we don't have time to go into a consolidation phase. And then we became all captives of national firms. And then the PC revolution began, and some other factors came to play to where we have now broken out into the greater percentage of our industry is RIA versus captive. It's almost evenly divided, but the independents are now outnumbering the captive advisors. So we've gone way back to the future, or it's cycles like everything does. So we have to be well prepared. And this is going to gravitate the industry consolidation that has to happen going forward. And it's not back to the nationals. In my opinion, it's not back to the wirehouses. It's back to the super prepared RIAs who have taken advantage of scale. And those are going to be not only the survivors in the RIA space, but winners within the industry. Even if you're not considering acquisition, you must be on the surviving side of the transaction. So if you're acquired or you're merging, you've got to be a survivor in this. So you've got to see your way clear. But I think there's a way, I know there's a way to gain scale without giving up your independence. Scale does matter. Not all firms with which you would affiliate have your best interest foremost. That doesn't mean that they would not consider your best interest. They will consider your best interest only after theirs. So if there ever becomes a conflict, theirs is going to come first. And you cannot be in that kind of a situation because you will lose every time that comes up, and it will come up. So there's private equity buying up firms, consolidators, and even the independent providers of custody and broker-dealer work are offering package platforms to bring you on so they gain scale and profit margin. That may not be in your best interest. So you've got to scrutinize. Front money is a siren song. I've always felt, always, through the whole time in the industry, that front money made people, sorry, I'm going to say it directly, make people lazy. It makes people lazy. You feel comfortable when you sit back. That's not the way to make a transition. You want, if you're going to make a move, to make it in a context where you can actualize and you have the big word, control over your destiny, your future, and how you do your business, but yet at the same time, gaining access to scale. So changes in the current political and economic environment. Another opportunity, as well as an obstacle. Major tax changes in the offing, both on the income tax and especially on the estate. tax regulation. The estate planning strategies have to evolve to meet that. And there is also retirement plan legislation that continues ongoing. One must watch for that. One must adjust, adapt, improvise, and overcome those obstacles. And that can only be done when you have the time to strategize about your business. You don't have the time, remember your first answer to the second question, you don't have enough time. Well, no one ever has enough time. Yet the paradox is everyone has all the time there is. Everyone has exactly 24 hours in their day. The question is, how will you spend it? If you're spending your time strategizing for your practice and interfacing with your clients and prospective clients and referral sources, you will meet these obstacles and you will overcome them. You must understand and you must communicate all that you're doing clearly to your clients. That doesn't take second seat. So you will promote yourself through your capitalization, capturing the opportunities, avoiding the obstacles, and then you'll let everybody know that you're about the best there is around. And clients will gravitate to you. I guarantee it. That I can guarantee. So how you answer these questions may determine the future of your business. How comfortable are you with your current custodian and broker-dealer relationships? Think about it. You got to admit to yourself, are you comfortable, or are things happening that make you grind your teeth? You find yourself waiting for answers. You find yourself getting the wrong answers with no help in a workaround. I don't mean just compliance. I mean doing business. Do you have the ability to run your business your way? Yes, you want to be held in compliance. You want to run a clean, safe, fun business that helps your clients. You got to do it your way, not somebody else's way. You feel your revenue sharing arrangement is not what you would want. What is your path for growth? How much time are you spending thinking about it? How much time do you have to think about it? And what is your vision for how you want to spend your time? What do you want to do every day? And with whom do you want to do it? You've got to answer those questions for yourself. And you can't take the time to think philosophically and strategically if you're tied up in a lot of workbench details. In addition to the shifting industry landscape, independent advisors and owners of independent advisory firms are challenged with, as I said, insufficient time. Too many demands, portfolio management, compliance oversight, marketing and business development, lack of time, as I said several times, for strategic visioning. A big one is absence of processes. Process trumps personal brilliance. Your intelligence is your ante to be in this business. That just gets you in because you're smart. But you can't make it up every day and depend on being smart every minute of every day to create the kind of results you want. You have to create the processes that turn workbench work into replicable, automated, or semi-automated processes so that you can then rise to your highest and best use. That will carry you on that wave. That'll carry your firm and you forward. Inadequate technology. We all suffer from that. And it's not, oh, well, we've upgraded our technology. Now we're here. Let's kick back. It's every day, all day. We have people devoted to constantly finding better ways to use our technology, not just new technology, but better ways to use it. How synergistic is it? How can we find one point of entry? How can it talk to each other? How can we relay what we're doing to our coworkers in a way that doesn't require endless looping of emails? Inadequate technology. And then again, your BD custodial relationship just may be impractical. And they may be, we found in years past, that there are costs associated with certain platforms of which we were unaware till we took the time to find out. And it worked to our detriment and the client's detriment. But when we fixed it, the reverse happened and it leapfrogged us forward. Captive advisors, that sounds like a terrible phrase, but that means that you're not independent. That's just a phrase to be signify the reverse. Might be with an investment firm, an insurance firm that does investments, a banking investment arm. You are additionally challenged. Brokerage arrangements impacting revenues. You have lower payouts than the independents. You say, well, I don't have as much expense. Well, there's quite a bit of analysis that should be done before you leap to that conclusion. Brokerage arrangements that impact your revenues are definitely a big part of that is lower payouts. And then there is arbitrary elimination of revenues. An edict comes down from on high. You don't feel in control of your destiny with those two issues. Retaining control over the choice of clients. Some firms send your lower clients to a help desk and you have no choice. You have no jurisdiction over that. They also mandate products and services. I mentioned that I started 49 years ago. 24 of those years, I grew my group intrapreneurially within a large national firm. Comfortable enough. But as I grew wiser in the industry, more experienced, analyzed more, but also added processes and people so that I had the time to analyze, I realized that that wasn't my best course of action. So 25 years ago, we moved to independence. We're 11 people then, we're 44 people now. And our assets under management have grown exponentially as a result. Product quotas and proprietary products. That was a big part of our decision to move. That was at the height of the proprietary product bias, and it hasn't gone away. It's just been painted a little differently. But you cannot, young attorneys are taught, first know who your client is. We have to know who our client is, and it's not the brokerage firm. It's not the firm that holds us captive. That's not our client. Our clients are our clients. And proprietary products and quotas do not allow you to do the best for your clients, your best for your clients. You must incorporate fiduciary considerations into your practice. 5 years ago, I had a reporter say to me, who cares about fiduciary responsibility? Nobody knows about that or cares about it. Well, he was wrong, because that was the beginning of it. Now, I suspect you are like we, that pretty much every prospective client who comes in asks us if we're fiduciaries, which we are. And we're able to explain what that means to them. There's firm reputational risk. You could do good, clean business, and your sponsoring firm ends up on A1 or B1 of the Wall Street Journal. And that's not where you want to be. And now you're spending your time answering questions about issues over which you had no control and you're not at fault. Arbitrary rules and compliance generalization. Oftentimes, and compliance tries at every firm to do the right job. Sometimes those firms are so large and so impersonal that you are held to the same standard as the people who may not have your standards. So compliance has to be allocated and implemented in a way that understands who you are. Yes, there are certain things that are inviolate. There are things you can't do. There are things you must do. But putting you through the ringer when you're not worthy of being put through the ringer is just not fair. And that holds you back, and that eats up your time. Lack of support, insecurity of the future, and your future direction determined by forces and entities outside of your control. Not a happy situation. Been there, left that. Where do you go from here? Is independence the right option for you? If so, how can you best achieve it? All partners, as I described earlier, are not created equally. Or if you are independent, how do you obtain the support, the resources required to grow your practice? And again, the ways in which you get that support will vary greatly in terms of cost and the quality of that support. And then lastly, even if you are midlife and not pre-retirement, are you concerned about the succession of your practice? I suggest that you have to pay attention to that. If you are 40 years old, 45 years old, 50 years old, and you say, well, I'm going to work until I'm 65, or as someone told me this morning, I'm working till I'm 95, and that's fine. He was about 50. But what if fate intervenes? You have to have the right arrangements in place so that your family, your family, because you could become disabled, your family, your estate are protected. So start by asking yourself the question I posed before. It's central to any career decision, any career move. How do you want to spend your time and with whom? That's deceptively simple. Don't start putting labels on things. Answer that existential two-part question. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it, and with whom? We have broken out the duties of an advisor, be he or she captive or independent. And on the left side of this schematic are all of the things that you spend your time doing. I suspect that if you're average, you're spending 50% of your time on things like sourcing, installing, maintaining various practice management systems, developing marketing campaigns, and arranging client events, maintaining billing cycles, deciding how the fee calculation should go, research, evaluate, implement investments, rebalance portfolios, buy, sell. Boy, I'm tired. I should go home and rest. None of that is productive. That's not uniquely you. That's not what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't. I did for years, wrote my own seminars. No, the marketing department should do that. Compliance should approve it. I should give my executive input. I shouldn't do any of those things. Rather, there are things where you can uniquely add value to your practice, and it's not the things I just listed for you. On the right side of this schematic, foremost, your vision for practice development and identifying the programs to accomplish your vision. Saving time, equally important, for personal development, your health, and your family. You cannot be successful if you cheat yourself emotionally, yourself. If you cheat yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, you can't be right for your family, and you can't be right for your business, or even your community, your faith, whatever it might be. Service, retain, and increase assets under management from existing clients, and then develop relationships with prospective clients, new clients, and lastly, referral sources. And you get those from your clients, your referrals, and also from their professional advisors. They're not adversaries. They want to work with you in what we call the client's board of directors. If you approach it correctly, you will gain a good referral network with the attorneys, accountants, and other professional advisors of your clients, because you are showing them what you are doing that's beneficial for the mutual client and for the other advisor. You don't have to do that, standing around with a glass of wine in your hand at a networking event. You can do that socially. This works much better. Put it together. Delegate, subcontract the things on the left, and fully take control of your destiny by bringing your best skills, your intellect, and your energy to the things on the right. And that's where success comes. That's where growth comes. And the second question, you'll have plenty of time because you planned it out the right way and allocated. There's no such thing as time management. There is activities management. And this is what activities management means.
Well, thank you, Bob. And thank you again for everyone joining today. I want to start off with a polling question, and it picks up where Bob left off. What are the items getting in the way of growing your business? I'll wait for a minute here and I'll walk through the polling question items. So let's ask yourself, in what areas of the business do you feel you would benefit the most if you had more support? You can certainly answer more than one here. Portfolio management and trading, compliance, marketing, improved technology, integration, processes, a defined client experience, financial planning, and reporting and billing. Take a minute to collect these and see what's getting in the way and what would you benefit from the most. We have our results. A little bit interesting. Marketing by far, 54%. Improved technology, integration, and processes, 42%. A defined client experience at 29%. And financial planning and portfolio management, a quarter of you offered that was something that you would benefit from. So I'm going to walk through a number of items that show exactly what you might want to look for in those resources. If you decide to look for a partner to help grow your business, again, remember, as Bob illustrated, not all arrangements are created equally. We're going to go through some of those key considerations and questions to ask when evaluating your options. Let's start with number one, culture. Again, I'll go back to a previous slide. How do you want to spend your time and with whom? And I think the question of culture basically is summed up. Do the business entities upon which your success depends align with your goals, needs, and values, and those of your clients? We mentioned reputational risk, of the firm that maybe you had little to do with. How does that impact, and how do you feel about that as far as your culture? The second piece is what I call limitations. How do you evaluate what limitations? Do the current affiliations allow you to feature your business, your name, and you truly feel independent? Are you locked into a contract? If you choose an independent route, but you have a contract, I would argue, how independent are you? And I think that's an important consideration. A lot of people say they're an independent, but if you have a contract, that may not really feel fully independent. Do the custodial relationships offer the maximum benefit to your clients and you? Over the last several years, there's been an incredible amount of fee compression in products and trading costs and all the different variables. I mean, it's really accelerated over the last 5 years. Have those benefits moved over to you and your clients? Ongoing support. If your partner is merely providing training on your custodial logins and a web software platform, is that really the support that you need to help grow your business? I would ask yourself those questions before diving in. So I think the big question is, explore what is being offered, because you need a full range of resources. Some partners are offering technical support. Is that enough to really structure your business for growth? Let's walk through a few big resource items, and these are the ones you want to consider. Now, this is coming from a perspective of what we viewed as important for our growth and what we view as part of somebody that associates with us. And I'll walk through how to evaluate these resources and ask yourself the questions of whether you get this now or would you need this to grow your practice. The first one is compliance. And, Bob talked about compliance a little bit, but I think the important part, what I like to say is, do they say no? Or do they ask, what are you trying to accomplish? Compliance should be there to help you grow your business and help navigate and keep you safe, not, again, aligning you with the lowest common denominator. Portfolio management. Is there a portfolio management team that offers institutional asset management for a broad spectrum of clients? Or is it a menu to choose from? Or maybe a few models or something rudimentary? Ask yourself what portfolio management looks like. Technology. Is it integrated? If anything in the pandemic has taught us, it's taught us how important technology is. But I think the biggest question is, you can have a great system here, you can have a great system over here, but if it's not integrated, they're not talking to each other. And that's where it becomes workbench. Marketing. How do they help you market to your clients? Are there white label materials, resources that promote you as the advisor, you as the relationship person? And how does it enable you to communicate with your clients and deepen those relationships? Financial planning. It's an incredible component of what we do at Fergasso Financial Advisors. It is the core of what we do. And, there's certainly software that you can use. There's certain resources, but I think the key is, are they available in software, training, integration, as I mentioned, and also consultative? Because that's the key in any type of financial planning software system, platform, is how does it integrate and how consultative can it be to you as you propose different things to your clients? Codified client experience. It's a big buzzword today, but I will share that it has to be process and something that allows you to deepen those relationships and gain referrals. Is it built in and integrated in that software, in those different systems that you might use? Or do you have to make it up every day? Trust department. Hang on to those generational assets with an independent firm. And be wary of many trust departments that require specific custody requirements, or might have a bank behind it, or a specific custodian behind it, because it may be like Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check those clients out. It has to be held there. And if you decide to make a change, again, how independent are you if you don't have an independent trust company? Endowments and foundations and retirement plans. That's certainly an adjunct area for a lot of advisors. Most advisors feature the individual wealth management. But can you grow your practice with some of those ancillary lines of business, like a nonprofit or a 401k plan? And what resources are there to help you grow that business and provide a good, steady stream of revenue, as well as benefit the clients that might have those opportunities? Is it time for a change? What I walk through is a very comprehensive list of considerations, but they are all very important. And if you're not now confident that you have the best providers on your behalf in all of those areas, should you consider a change? You have access to a full range of resources, or are you limited? Did you check the box on several of those, but you wished you had several more? Are you structured for growth? Is it manageable growth? Can you accelerate growth? Or are you merely treading water? And the last one is, are you free to concentrate on the activities that will attain your goals? Again, the schematic. Are you spending more time on the left side? Necessary, but not as productive? Or are you spending your time on the right side? Valuable and productive? If you're a financial advisor or team contemplating a change, we can help you. Fregasso Associated Advisors is a turnkey platform that provides the back office and the mid-office support, and you retain the front office and independent without contract that allows you to work within your area of most productive and valuable time and allows you to grow your business. We would certainly welcome a confidential conversation. I can tell you it would greatly benefit you. But I'll pause for a moment because I can see where we have a couple questions coming in, and I think Greg Pond's going to tee those up. So I'll pause and say thank you, and we look forward to seeing some of these questions.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Bob, as well. That brings us to our Q&A session of the program. Before we get started, I want to notify all live webinar attendees that they will receive a follow-up email with the following items: a link to re-watch the presentation, a webinar survey, and the presenter's contact information. So now let's take a look at the questions. Okay, the first question is for you, Bob. What kind of marketing assistance should an advisor expect from their partner?
Marketing is a simple one-word term, but it encompasses quite a few activities. You are marketing when you provide the right kind of information to your clients in a way that they understand what you're doing and that they are willing to share your insight, your intellectual content with their extended family, their friends, their neighbors, their business associates. That's one facet of marketing. Marketing is being able to send and work collaboratively on intellectual content with the referral partners that you've established. That's marketing. Marketing is having your partners communicate to your clients on what is going on in their portfolios so that they feel comfortable. You, the advisor, concentrate on the financial planning. Portfolio management gives you their content so that you can advise your clients. All of that is internal marketing. Then there is external marketing, and that's what gains the first channel of growth through referrals from all of those sources. External marketing would be the efforts that you put out into your community, into your marketplace. And that could be direct advertising, and that content should be done for you. And as Dan said, and as I said earlier, it should be done in a way that features you, not your captive firm that's holding you or someone who provided it to you where you have to use their name or some insurance company's name. This is your content that's compliance approved. You put it out there as an ad. You can do public relations. That is, you can plant your intellectual content with the hungry news media in your area that need content, and they will appreciate educational and insightful content. All of that's provided on a white label basis for you to use. There is also the educational approach that you can use with corporations, organizations, civic groups, and educational institutions. You can go out and teach anywhere from a lunch and learn to a multi-session seminar, educating the constituents of that organization, or in general, the participants in your seminar about how they can best manage their assets. And of course, you are positioned as the instructor. All of that and more is provided to our associated advisors. And again, it features that advisor.
Okay, so Dan, this next question is for you. How is the Fregasso Associated Advisor platform different than others in the marketplace?
I mean, I think you want to begin almost by looking at the landscape of other firms that might do this. And that landscape's pretty wide. I mean, you have the, in the jargon of our industry, it's the aggregators, and some of those may operate as merely a super OSJ. And I guess that's great if you get compliance support. But again, I would ask, how are you going to grow your practice with merely just having some compliance assistance? There's certainly the other players in the industry that, offer some independence, but again, it's not the support. It's not the resources that you need. There's other firms, as Bob mentioned, insurance firms, that you're not going to be independent, and now you have proprietary product requirements, or it might feel a little uncomfortable as you try to branch out. Fregasso Financial Advisors and Fregasso Associated Advisors is a comprehensive way of providing all of the resources you need. Again, on that left-hand side of the schematic, taking the back office and the mid office and allowing you to retain the front office. It not only is it a supportive system, but it offers a clear path to growth. And we have examples of practices that have accelerated their growth and have improved their quality of life, their personal well-being, and have been an amazing journey. And basically have said, I wish I would have found this sooner.
Okay, and that is all the time we have for questions today. So that brings us to the end of today's program. If you'd like to continue this conversation to learn how we can help you accomplish your goals, please reach out to me. My contact information is on the screen. And just so you know, anything we talk about will remain confidential. And I will also be sending a complimentary copy of Bob's latest book, Starting Your Own Practice, the second edition, to those who take advantage of the phone consultation. So thank you once again for all your insights today, Bob and Dan. To our audience, thank you so much for attending, and we hope you found this discussion helpful. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.